Welcome back to Macy Alexandra Ballet. I'm a professional dancer and artistic director, and I have an online platform launching January 2026. So make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on new exciting opportunities we have for you. So, when I was a teenager, I was accepted into a ballet school in New York City, and I moved there to train full time as a student. And one of the habits that I took very seriously while I was training there was being the first one to arrive to class. So a typical day at this school, we would start ballet at 8:30 a.m. and I would make sure I would get through the doors at 7:30 a.m. Usually it was just me and the janitor, but it was very important that I arrived there early, not necessarily in a competitive way, but it was very important for me to get there early and make sure that my body and my mind was ready for a full day of class. It was a very rigorous schedule. We were training up to 40 hours a week, depending on the time of the season. And so it was very common to feel extreme tightness and soreness in our muscles. Now, as someone who always struggled with flexibility while I was a student, this was something I knew I had to really prioritize. So I would get to the studio an hour before class started and get my things situated and then get the foam roller out. Immediately, I would start working on rolling out the tightest sections of my body. Usually, this would be my legs and my low back. Once I spent about 20 minutes rolling out, I would then go on to stretching. Showing up to class early not only benefits you, but it also lets your teachers know that you are serious. So once I prioritized my flexibility and making sure that my body and my mind was ready for class, I felt more prepared and more successful in my training each day. The second habit that I used while training as a student is making sure to do the movement more than once. There is something to be said about seeing a student repeat the movement over and over again versus just doing it once when the music is playing. Again, this was something that not only benefited me, but also let my teachers know that I was serious about improving and that I wanted to get it right. They say it takes 21 days to create a habit. If I do it just one time, 1 hour a week, once a week, I am likely not going to improve at the rate I want to. So, after finishing a combination, if the teacher is explaining how to do an attitude and they want to see you working on your inner thigh rotation, I would repeat that attitude over and over and over again. Of course, you also want to respect your teacher. So, if they are talking and perhaps another student is demonstrating, it's your time to just watch. I was always on the sidelines, practicing that movement over and over again, watching the other groups go before me, seeing what they're doing correct or incorrect, and seeing what I could apply for when it was my turn. And when class was over, if the studio space was available, I was still practicing those steps that we had learned in class. The third habit I implemented was observing my peers. This also really helps if you have goals of someday teaching or choreographing. I'm definitely a visual learner as well as hands on. So it would really help when I would see someone do the movement correctly. And sometimes teachers are not able to show the movements exactly how they want them to be done. So it really helped seeing students who excelled in that particular area and watch them do the movement so that I could try to apply it. This doesn't mean you have to be the last person in the group each time, but if there is a group going ahead of you, make sure that you really observe each student, see what they're doing correctly, see what they're doing incorrectly, and figure out how you can apply those movements to your exercise when it's your turn to go across the floor. If you see someone doing multiple pirouettes and you're struggling to get your double pirouette, watch how they move their arms, watch how they move their back, watch where their heel goes. You'd be surprised with how much you can learn from just observing. The fourth and final habit that I used while I was training as a student is to treat each class like it's the last time you're going to dance. I know it sounds a bit heavy, but it is really true. You don't know what could happen tomorrow. And so showing up to your class 100% is so important. You may have a bad day every once in a while, but it's important that you leave everything at the door. When you get to the bar, it's time to work. It's time to get into the zone, get your mindset right, and you can really use ballet as an escape. Everyone approaches ballet differently, but it was very important for me to emotionally regulate before I got to the bar. I would just remember that my only true competition is myself, and it was important that before and after class, I would clear my mind. This is why it is so important to have a community of teachers and peers that really care about your success and your progress as a dancer. And that is why I'm putting together my dream team at Macy Alexandra Ballet, a new online platform that is your online ballet community, launching January 2026. If you'd like to follow our journey, make sure to subscribe to this channel and we will keep you up to date with new exciting opportunities for you.